Welcome back to the Michael D. Show. I'm your host, Michael D. Butler, here in the Beyond Publishing Studios in Bangkok. We're based out of Dallas and Bangkok. Our next author, I'm so excited about him. He's based in Fort Worth, Texas. Benjamin Anders has written a book called Once Upon a Time in Texas. Benjamin, welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Michael. Thank you for having me, my friend.
Oh, congratulations. Tell me, you reached out to us recently. You'd written this book. What inspired the book? What motivated you to write a novel?
Well, as long as I've had a sound mind, basically when I was a little kid, I've always thought about creating stories, making up stories wherever I go. And I always make up stories when I go on vacation. Like I remember in high school, my mom and I going to the beach or my grandparents going to the mountains. And I just think of stories in those settings that I visit. Like what would happen if this type of story happened here or this kind of story happened on the beach? And I've always had that gift, you could say. And I'm reminded of what Solomon writes in Proverbs, a man's gift makes room for him.
Yeah.
I just have that gift of storytelling. And I've been living in Texas now for over 3 years. And I remember here in Fort Worth, I would go visit the sights and sounds like the stockyards and see the Chisholm Trail Parkway and a couple of sites in Dallas as well, seeing the Bluebonnet Fields. And as the years went by, because I'm over here in Texas for seminary school, whenever I was not in the books or typing for papers, I just remember thinking about a story that took place on the cattle drives for the Chisholm Trail at the
Yeah.
stockyards, a story that would happen in Bluebonnet Field. And a few months ago, I was bored. My friends were off doing something else. And I decided to just take out my MacBook and just started typing. And I just kept on typing, 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 and typing. And I sent the rough drafts to my friends. And they said, Benjamin, this is pretty good. You might want to consider about going public with this. I'm thinking, you know what? I just will. So I did some research in local publishers in the DFW area, and I found Beyond Publishing that's based in Plano in Thailand. And I looked up you, I'd researched you, Michael, and you're a great Christian man. You do a lot to help children who've gone through a lot of tragic stuff. And I'm thinking, Lord, I think it'd be nice if I meet up with Michael. And ever since I had my first interview with you, I haven't regretted it since.
It's definitely been fun working with you, Benjamin. And in weekly masterminds, the group's really been inspired by your story. You're originally from Alabama, you're a youth minister, you're inspiring young adults and young people to find a vision for their life and get clarity about their future. Give us a little peek into, because you told us Texas was kind of an inspiration for some of the stories in the book. Give us a little peek inside of the characters and what's going on under the hood over here with this book.
Yeah, so it's a Western, Once Upon a Time in Texas. Now, a lot of Westerns, it's a stereotypical story of the good guy, the marshal, the rogue gunman rides into town, and there's some bad guys in the town that he has to clear the town away from the bad guys. This ain't that type of story. This is a Western that breaks stereotypes. Instead, the central character of this story is a cattle baron, a man who is rich from raising and herding cattle. His name is Butch Holloway. Now, Butch has a lot of ranch hands that work for him. And sadly, Butch in his greed views his ranch hands as subhuman, sadly. And he can treat his ranch hands in unethical manners in terms of discipline. And after many years of treating his ranch hands with this subhuman discipline, these disciplinary measures, he now has, you could say, a vendetta against him. Some ranch hands want to discipline him. They want to do an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth against him. But it just so happens that in Fort Worth, while his ranch hands are plotting to kill him, whatever the disciplinary measures may be towards him, a Pinkerton detective kind of hears it at the local saloon. And she's thinking, this is murder that's being talked about. I may want to look in on this. So, the main story is that Pinkerton is investigating in why the ranch hands at the plantation of Butch Holloway want to kill Butch Holloway. But in the midst of it, Butch Holloway has a son, and his name is Patrick. Patrick treats all the ranch hands like they are human beings made in the image of God. And Patrick's trying to be a shining light to his greedy father in the midst of this investigation.
Sounds very powerful, very intriguing, and I'm curious what inspired this plot, this storyline.
Well, of course, you know this because of the author mastermind interviews that we've had for the last week, and I will share it here. When I was 4 years old, I lost my father to death. And of course, I've had father figures in my life, of course. I've had my granddad, Papa, I call him. I've had youth pastors growing up in church. And I still have some mentors now, some professors at the seminary I look up to for advice and all like that. But growing up, I never had the father figure in my home. It was just my mom and my grandmother and I. And so fatherhood has always been a central component in my life. The importance of fatherhood and the importance of having a father in one's life. No, I'm not a father. I'm not even married yet. I got a girlfriend, but I'm not married yet. And I hope to God that one in the next few years I can be a father by the grace of God one day. But this is a story. What mainly create this story was the centrality of the importance of fatherhood.
Mm,
Because in my story, without going into details, there are three central characters that loses their fathers. Patrick, who I mentioned earlier, he's actually adopted. Butch Holloway adopted him to do the bills and the payrolls at the ranch, the cattle ranch. The Pinkerton detective, who's a female, her name is Jean Hollingsworth. She loses her father in the Chicago fire in the 1870s. And no spoilers, but there's another character that you'll find out later on in the story that, oh, he too lost his father as
mm,
well. But I don't want to get into spoilers. You have to read the book to find out.
absolutely.
And
The
there's,
hardcover, the paperback, the ebook, and the audiobooks coming soon. Just let me tell you, you're watching the Michael D Show, and our best-selling author here, Benjamin Anders. Congratulations for going #1 on Amazon. Your
thank
book's
you.
available everywhere, not just on Amazon, but on BarnesandNoble.com,
Mm.
Walmart.com, Target.com, everywhere books are sold, eBay, and around the globe. So, getting back to this story, you tell me in the green room you're available for media interviews, podcast interviews. What's the best way for people to get a hold of you to have you on their show?
Yeah, I mean, so for right now, I'm starting off. I don't have everything together yet, and I'm still in seminary last semester. But for right now, the best way to contact me would be my email.
Outstanding. Have Benjamin on your show and have him speak on your podcast. It's going to and now there's kind of you're a man of faith and you're in the ministry. You're in the ordained ministry, and this is a would you call this a Christian religious fiction then?
Yeah, I would. This is a story that, look, you can be Christian and non-Christian and enjoy this story.
Okay.
But I'm reminded of what Paul writes, and all that we do, do it for the glory of God.
Hmm.
And sure, in this Western, some people get shot, but there's not a lot of sleeping around. There's not a lot of cussing. There's not. I wanted to write a story that still glorifies God without preaching a message.
Yeah.
So, yes, you can be a Christian and you can get biblical lessons out of it. You can be a non-Christian and just get a heartfelt story out of it. But overall, yeah, there are Christian fiction elements in this story, absolutely.
Once Upon a Time in Texas by Benjamin Anders, available everywhere books are sold, hardcover, paperback, ebook, audiobook. What was the most rewarding thing for you about finishing this book?
That is a great question. I would say the most rewarding thing is thinking of this story. And again, when I first started typing, there were things that I already knew that was going to be in the story that I knew going forward, okay, I'm going to type this in the future. but also there were things that just spur of the moment, I just typed it up. Because there's a side character too. Her name's Claudia. She's like the housemaid for Butch Holloway. And Claudia, no details, has a son that's in the war in Cuba right during the story. Because the story takes place in 1898. The Spanish-American
Okay.
War is going on.
Yeah.
And Claudia has a son who is serving in Cuba. And that side story, I just thought at the top of my head, like, oh, this would be
Mhm.
interesting to have in the story as well. And so the best rewarding thing is I was on the journey as I was typing this story, as I was doing the Pinkertons investigation, the realization from Butch Holloway of, oh, some guys that work for me want to kill me. And the resolving and the resolution that comes out of that, it felt like I was there at the ranch the whole time. And when gunfire was going off, I felt like I was in the midst of the gunfire, like, oh, I need to duck for cover. It felt like that I was on the journey with the characters. And when the
Yeah.
story finally ended and I typed the last two words, the end, it felt like I was on a journey and the journey came to a completion. That was
I
the
love it.
thing.
I love it. So here you are, you're being guided basically, this download, you're channeling this download.
Mhm.
Um, a lot of authors get this creative moment. You know, musicians and songwriters get it writing music, and you get it in writing a book. What advice would you give to a young author that's maybe stuck staring at a blank page on the screen? How do they break through that writer's block?
Mm. Of course, I'm not the most expertise guy to answer this question, but for me, just think about the story, think about the story, think about what are you passionate about when it comes to this story, and just let your passion come from your mind and your heart, because I think it's both. It's your heart and your mind, your soul and your cognitive abilities. Let it come through your arms, to your fingers, to the keyboard, and just type it. Whatever you're passionate about, just let it go through your fingers to the keyboard.
I love that. I love that. The keyboard's on fire. Are you more of a late night writer or an early morning writer or just randomly?
Oh no, I'm late night. I am late night. I am not an early bird at all. I am a night owl, and I do most of my writing at nighttime. My friends are asleep, and luckily I don't have class early in the morning, so I'm thinking I'm done with schoolwork. My friends are asleep, so I'm not spending time with them. I'm just going ahead and start typing now.
There we go. Benjamin Anders. Once Upon a Time in Texas. Thanks for being with us on the Michael D Show, Beyond Publishing Studio. We have authors from 67 nations. And Benjamin, it's been a lot of fun to work with you. Our average author does 5 books with us. You're invited to come speak at the Bangkok Book Show in April, where you've got 1.5 million people coming and rolling out the red carpet for you. And your book is available everywhere globally, not just in US, but
Mhm.
everywhere books are sold. So
Yeah.
congratulations, Benjamin. What's the final word you want to leave with your readers?
Honestly, it's just a thank you, Michael. Again, thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'm 26 years old. This is my first ever novel. Sometimes I feel like I was a fish out of water. You've been there to lead me, to guide me. Again, you haven't spoon-fed me. You told me what to do so I can take that responsibility. And again, Michael, thank you so much. God bless you.
And you did it all, and you did it, and you succeeded. And congratulations for going #1 on Amazon. Grab it. Great gift, great read, and you want to grab others for friends so you can share this as a gift going into the holidays. So thanks, Benjamin.
Thank you, Michael.